Hi everyone, welcome to the eighth lecture of the course. In this class, I just want to come here and share my journey through my meditation practice um, because I know that many of you doesn't have a reference to see how it should go, and I think that what I've been through, my experiences will help highlight some of your own mistake too that you might or might not know of, and how if I were to know of them a bit earlier, or more importantly, if I were to give importance to it a lot earlier, then I think it will help benefit me a lot. In the previous lectures, we talked about ordering your mind to know and know clearly. Um, it is as easy as that. You can do it with me right now by telling the mind. People wonder, what does telling the mind to do? Telling the mind means you have an intention to feel that signal. For example, you might not tell it outright, command your mind outright, but when you have the intention to feel something, you perceive it. For example, right now, have the intention, order your mind to feel the top of your head. When with that intention to be at the top of your head, you perceive everything up here just by merely having that intention. Secondly, you can shift that intention down to the sole of your feet. Just by merely thinking of it, having that intention, your perception nows are at the soles of your feet. You can also change it. Tell your mind that, or yourself, I want to feel my right ear. With that, your perception now only feel your right ear. Whereas before it's up here, down here, but now it's right in your right ear. And it's as simple as that. With the intention to know your object, you will know clearly at that very moment. So from the previous example, right now I know that my clarity or my perception is at my right ear. So with this, I use my three tools right away. I tell my mind with intention to know and know clearly of my right ear. When I do all of that, then when I ask myself, what am I perceiving right now? What am I in attention to right now? I'll say it is my right ear that I'm giving attention to. So when you close your eyes and you tell your mind to be right here in your right ear, you can continue that focus. Your mind no longer wanders off, but now with clarity, with balance, with your right ear, when you tell your mind to be at that place, when you have the intention to be at that place. And that's it. That is the state. That feeling after you bring your mind to your right ear is the state that we want to maintain. To enable that, we will have to repeat that intention, repeat that order with your right ear all the time. Yeah. You'll find that with the first intention of being with your right ear, you'll perceive it for 5 to 10 seconds. Yeah. With that, for many, there'll be thought seeping through, trying to lower your attention away to something else. Some images, some sounds, some feeling of the past, of the future, of anything. But if that happens, by knowing yourself, before that happens, you give you have another intention, another order to be with your right ear. That will help your mind. That command will register to your mind, and your mind will execute that command, helping you perceive your right ear. And so therefore, we have to keep on having that continuous intention, that constant reminder to ourselves to be at our right ear, or at your breath, at your mantra, at your visual object. Doesn't matter what it is. I cannot stress enough how easy it is. What does that mean? It means just that. Bring your mind to your right ear and know. And that's it. Just know clearly only. It is as clear cut as that. No desire, no aversion, just know. So right now, when you have your attention to your right ear, or your breath, or your posture, that's it. That's it. Now you are doing it right then and there. Yeah. The feeling, wonderful or not, suffering or not, it doesn't really matter. For that we understand that whenever there's pollution, whenever the mind takes pollution in our right ear, in our posture, in our mind, it will be difficult. It will be blurry, unclear, muffled. It will be something you have to endure, something unpleasant, because that's what pollution does to you. So that's why when you bring your mind to this place, that place, your object, and you feel those sensations of suffering, remind yourself, oh, my mind detects some pollution. That's why this phenomenon happens to you. Oppositely, for those who have practiced for quite a while, continuously, consistently, they find that when they close their eyes, they feel this slight happy feeling, a pleasant, calm, tranquil feeling. That sensation comes as a result of pollution no longer being there. Because it is not there, the mind doesn't detect it. Because it is not there, the suffering also is not there too. Because it's not there, wandering mind, restlessness, doubt, ill will, sensual pleasure are also not there. Even better, some people close their eyes and feel nice, feel great, amazing. Because not only that the pollution inside their mind, their body decreases until there's nothing left, but their purity increases in the place of pollution. Now this purity stockpile up and up and up. The more they grow, the wonderful the feeling becomes, the much more amazing the experiences become. So every day, every moment we close our eyes, we are perceiving the stockpile of pollution and purity within our mind and body. So therefore, perceive it just information, just that, and know clearly of it, know clear of that fact. Mm. My number one mistake in recent memory was when I close my eyes and didn't feel nice, I forgot and made a mistake of thinking that I have to do something, that I have to fight, to struggle to survive, to get back to the wonderful feeling, to get back to where it once was. And that's not right. You find that doctors, nurses tell their patients not to fight, not to struggle. Because as the drip of medication pulls into their veins or their intake, it is those medication that heals them. But if they struggle, they fight, they shoot themselves in the foot, they hinders the efficacies, the physical and mental automatic system that will heal them. That's why they say relax, it's okay. Now you already have taken the medication, we already give you all chemotherapy, this and that, everything's working behind the scene. And so sit back, relax, and let the system run, let everything runs. Only when we stopped to fight, only when we surrender or accept with wholeheartedness to allow our internal system to do its job, only then does the system flourishes. Only then can it do its job at the 100%. And because there's no one, there's you are not there to obstruct it. That's why I often said in my um, meditation, guided meditation, I said, sit back, relax, as if you are laying back on your couch, slouching, lying down on your bed. The reason I said that is because it is not on you. The burden is not on you at all. Your job here is just to be aware, to know clearly in what you're knowing all the time. Because when that happens, the mind becomes really bright. Purity, from that clarity, from that knowing clearly, pulls up purity, runs the mind automatic cleaning system. Pollution that plagues you slowly become eradicated by itself, naturally, automatically, such as your diseases, your cold viruses, become eradicated after an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour of resting, of taking in the medicine. So as we understand and trust our body, let's have that faith, that initial faith for our mind too. Why? Because when it's tough, this is why we have to prove this teaching. This is why we have to prove, does can the mind, does you have a tool that will help you heal from illness, heal from diseases, heal from mental suffering or not? Because that is precisely what we are here to learn. So therefore, know, learn, study about them, understand them, and use it properly. We all might know them, might heard them many times already from the lectures, but do we know how to properly use it? So keep this in mind. When I finally remember my roles, my responsibility, that I have to know clearly of my object all the time, and that's it. It took me 5 minutes for the pain to go away, and I said, "Oh, finally, now finally, I feel nice." And it's this relief that and understanding that I've been doing things the wrong way for the past 2 to 3 hours. That, oh, I forgot. How can I forget the fundamental? Forget the core principle? The most essential thing in this practice is understanding my capability, that I can't do anything but merely tell the mind to know clearly. And with that, everything, all the process, all the pollution will be automatically eradicated by itself. My second mistake I remember when I first started off meditating was being giving too much importance to my posture, to the way I sit, the way I have to be. Yes, posture, position is very important. I'm not gonna lie, it's very important, but not when it become a hindrance to you, not when you're not ready. What does that mean? When you first start off, you're fighting against two pollution, your mental pollution and your physical pollution. Not only that your mind goes crazy, but your body also goes crazy as well. And sometimes people can't sit still because it aches so much around them. That's why in the beginning, when you sit down and I said, hey, sit back, relax. When your muscle relaxes, the tension releases. It feels nice. It feels amazing. And from that feeling, we capture it, we hold on to it, and we ride from that point. We use that amazing feeling to be the starting ground. Uh, I remember when I first ordained, I met my teacher. I bought two pillow, one small one like a pillow you use to sleep, and a very big pillow the size of the size of my face right now. Not my face, but my body right now. Yeah. The reason I bought two is because one, it is a memory foam. The pillow, the headrest pillow, is a memory foam I use for my back because I have back pain at time. And this big giant pillow the second one I bought, is for me to hug, because I know that when I meditate, it's gonna hurt really much. So what I did was I sit however I want on the couch and just with that soft pillow on my back, and I just hug the big pillow. I did that for 2 weeks, and just relax. Basically, know clearly. My teacher said know clearly. That's it, nothing more. And I just do that. Thought come in, I don't care. My body aches. I move around. Now this thing, that thing. I remind myself, know clearly. Am I knowing? Yes, I'm knowing. That's it. What am I knowing? I'm knowing what's going on right now. That's amazing. And I did that every single day. That is my Dhamma. That is my tool. Only that it helped me. It helped me from being someone who can only meditate 45 minutes per day. Not even in long session, but separated. Now 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 30 minutes here and there. Total 45 minutes. To be someone who can meditate 7 hours per day. In the beginning, not in one go, but 2 hours here, 1 hour there, 2 hours 30 minutes here and there. On all 7 hours per day, just by knowing clear all the time. One of the things that my teacher taught me early on is how to utilize suffering. Because you face it anyway. Mental suffering, physical suffering. We find that suffering, when arises, take a hold of us. It demand attention, demand your concentration. Most people, they have a distaste, have an aversion towards it. That push them towards struggling, towards fighting, towards having to get rid of it, where no longer does he or she recognize, remember that they can't do anything, that it's not their job to clean the pollution. But even though they strive to do what is impossible to do, they strive to achieve what they cannot achieve in the beginning at all. So that's why my teacher taught me, Jimmy, when there's pain, just know too that there's pain and just relax and know. Endure a bit. It's okay. If it's tough, move around. If it's tough, open your eyes. You don't have to endure. But if you can, it's something that's gonna help you grow. It's something gonna break your own glass ceiling. Just like going to a gym. Now, one push up, two push up, 10 reps, 20 reps. Every day, bit by bit by bit. Every day, you're growing, you're building up your muscle. Same with this too, he said. Closing your eyes and knowing clear of the suffering, you are building up something called taba in Pali. Taba. Taba means grit, ability to endure. The more taba you have, the more you can endure. Meaning, the longer you can be with suffering. Meaning, the more you can bear. Allowing the suffering not to turn into agonies. Because when our grit depletes, when our endurance depletes, then the pain might be small, but that small pain turns into agony. Something that you never cannot endure. But you can endure because of the grit. And that's what you're practicing at the moment. So involved with pain, physical pain, mental pain, that is the benefit that you'll gain. So we do things for the benefit. But he told me one important thing. He said, don't do it blindly. Don't do it stupidly. He said, we only do it when we cannot run away from it anymore. So therefore, sit with your leg crossed until you feel like you can't anymore, then move around. Shift your body around, move here, move there, hug a pillow. Once your physical pollution emerges, your body will take care of it. Slowly it will adjust. Then you'll find that just like yoga, just like stretching, every day you embody that posture, embody that stretch. At first, it's going to be very stiff, very suffering. But after days, weeks, months, it's going to be very elastic. Become your new normality. Your body finally become yours to utilize. So therefore, don't torture yourself. Know of the suffering only when you can't run away from it anymore. You say, you know what? I surrender. I can't do anything, so don't fight. We should never fight in the first place. So that's was my second learning. That posture important, but not necessary in the beginning, because we want to deal with all the mental suffering first and our physical suffering too. So let the body heal and adjust automatically. And you'll find that you get more and more comfortable in your body, more and more comfortable in your posture. If you feel comfortable in the beginning, to assume a proper posture, meaning your right leg on your top leg, your right hand on your left hand, while your right index finger touching your thumb like this, then you can do that. 1 minute, 2 minutes. If your legs feel numb, then adjust, move around, shift it around. One funny story is that I meditated 7 or 8 hours per day when I first met my teacher every single day. And my legs are like are like this, up and down, like windshield wiper on a car when it rains, like up and down all the time. Now, so even I start off with that too because I cannot endure the pain on my legs. But now I can sit with my legs crossed now for hours and hours. So therefore, I can tell you wholeheartedly that you can also do it. Your body will adjust by itself. So to recap before we go on, my first mistake was I forgot my roles, my responsibility. I fight. Even though I have no place in it, even though I have no strength, no capability to do any of it, because it's not up to me. It's up to my mind, up to my automatic system to do so. That's why with that lesson, I remind myself, you know what, don't fight, let it go. Just know clearly in your object and that's it. Everything will come about automatically. Number two, second learning. Posture, important but not in the beginning. In the beginning, practice the principle. Know clearly, comfortably. The longer we sit, the longer we clean. We sit for 5 minutes, we clean for 5 minutes. We sit for 1 hour, we clean for 1 hour. So therefore, aim for duration in the beginning. You can sit, can lie on the floor, on the bed, on the couch, doesn't matter. Just make sure that you don't fall asleep. Just make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure that your posture will actually aid you in being mindful too. Use it as a tool as well. My third learning comes a few months ago, around 6 months ago, where I started to teach my mind when I meditate in a very simple way. I have a very easy understanding. I said to myself, when I suffer, I will point to it, point to it and tell my mind, hey, you see this suffering right now on my chest, on my feeling, on this and that? That's suffering. That's suffering, that's it. Oh, sorry, that's pollution. That is pollution, that's it. This suffering is pollution. I found that it is astonishing that I no longer have aversion towards it because it reminds me that when there is pollution, it will have to be like that. And so I'm like playing a game of pointing fingers and naming stuff. That's pollution, that's hindrances, that's sleepiness, that's ill will, warning mind, the sensual desire, that's doubt. That's all pollution. And once you do that, you separate yourself from it. You no longer see it as your enemy, but something that you will know, understand, accept, and the mind will get rid of it automatically. And when it does that, and when it finally feels nice, I say, oh, that's purity. This right feeling, that's purity too. This smiles on my face, that's purity. That will help me also understand that, oh, I allow my mind to clean. I did the right thing. Therefore, the right consequences come for me to enjoy. Yeah? And my life is just living, balancing between pollution and purity. 1 minute pollution, the other minute purity. And then I move to a different room, different dimension. Oh, I meet a new pollution in new room. That's pollution. After my mind clean for 10 minutes, I feel nice. That's purity again. And then I move to a new room. I meet new pollution in that room again. That's pollution. 10 minutes, that's purity. That feel nice. Back and forth, back and forth. And by just commentating, teaching a mind, I was able to be mindful all the time because I'm always watching, keeping an eye full watch on my status, on my giving a life status report to myself, a life status report. Pollution, how much, how low, how strong, how weak. Purity, how strong, how weak, how much. My clarity, how many percent, 10%, 50%, 100% or not. There's always this constant monitoring, as if I was there looking at the stock market. The pendulum move up and down. Looking at when I should sell, when I should sorry. It's like looking at the stock market going up and down, up and down. Oh, it's going up, I should sell. Going down, I should buy. Something like that. Or you are looking at a baby monitor. You have a kid and you have this monitor in her and his or her room. and you are watching this monitor, all the while making sure that your baby is safe, is secure, is well rested. So that's how I try to reset myself from having things jumble up in my mind. We know that we have learned many things in the past. We have learned many techniques, many gurus talk to us, teachers teach us. But this is how we simplify things, back to basic, back to principle. For that, if our principle is correct, then the entire journey is such. The entire journey will be correct. And that is my fourth mistake. Forgetting the basic, overlooking the basic, giving wrong priority to wrong things. That's why in the lecture, in this 8-week course, I try my best to emphasize the right thing to emphasize on, to give importance to the right thing to give importance on, to teach the thing that you should know first and foremost. Because I find that without that proper arrangement, I had to go through many hoops, many loops to figure out where my mistakes were. Where did I go wrong? Where did I overlook? So I recommend anyone here, as a side note, everything that you know, you learn, I want you to draw a chart, a mind map, and prioritize what teaching comes first, what comes second, what comes third. As if you're writing a manual for yourself, a manual for your mind. The first and foremost thing, number one, number two, number three. Why number one is here first? Why number two doesn't come to number one? Have to know how to answer why. Why first, why second, why third, and what's the connection? How does all thing work? And you'll find that once you've written out a manual for yourself, a manual for your mind, when you struggle, when you don't know what to do, you can always come back to the starting point again. You know what? Let me reset. Come back to the beginning and do it right, do it right, do it right, do it right all the time. Mm. I want you to try what I did when I first start off. When I first start to meditate, in the first few weeks, after I met my teacher, I always ask myself 3 questions. Because in the first day I met him, he asked me, "Is it difficult to meditate?" And I said, "Yes, it's very difficult." He asked me why. And I told him that, well, I have a laundry list of things that I must do, I must achieve before I can meditate. It have to be nice and quiet, have to be this, with me that, everything perfect. And he told me, throw it away, forget about it. Just know clearly what you're knowing, nothing more, nothing less. Whatever you learn in your life, throw it out for now, or rather put it aside and just do this one thing. So therefore, I came up with 3 set of questions. I always come back to myself when I close my eyes. I ask myself, number 1, am I knowing? Am I conscious? Because I'm able to ask this question, the answer will be yes. Because if I'm not with myself, I'm running off here and there. I am not able to ask myself this question. I'm not able to come back to myself to have a small check-in. So that's why that's initial question that I have to ask myself. Now that I say yes, I'm knowing. The second question is, sure, but what am I knowing? Now you're knowing, but what are you knowing? I have to know what I'm knowing. So I said, okay, I know I have consciousness now, I have mindful now, but what am I mindful of? What am I concentrating on? Then I pick a point. I tell my mind, be with my breath. I tell my mind, be with my posture. I tell my mind, be with my right ear. And with that, I can answer the second question. I'm with my posture. I'm with my breath. I'm with my ear. And lastly, I ask myself, so this posture, this breath, this ear, is it strong? Is it continuous? Why is that? Why do I have to ask myself that? Because when it's strong, it is easy. If I were to slap myself right now on my face, my cheeks all red and bright and everything, the first thing I will notice is the pain on my cheek. Not my posture, not my anything, but this one. Because it's very strong. It demands my attention. It will grab my attention without me doing anything about it. Even if I don't want to feel it, I will feel it. And that's why the strength will help me have strong concentration, strong mindfulness. Having it last forever means that it'll be strong. This can be my refuge forever. So when I close my eyes and ask myself, am I knowing? I say yes, because I'm now conscious. Then I ask myself, what am I knowing? I don't know. So I tell myself to I tell my mind to feel my posture. And now I ask myself, before I wander off, or rather to help me be grounded, be rooted in my posture. Can this posture become an anchor for me to be in the here, in the now, an anchor that the ship used to help them not float away in the sea. Can this anchor help me be here and now or not? Every anchor have to be strong, and every anchor will be anchor as long as it is still submerged underwater. That's why continuous. So when I said, oh, my posture very weak, this is very weak signal. After 10 seconds, I will go away. Then what did I do? I do one of two things. Firstly, I become very manual. I tell myself, feel my posture, feel my posture, feel my posture. Now to make sure that it doesn't go with my anywhere. Or I pick an easier one. I find that right now my butt touching the floor, very easy. I find that my back ache at that time, very strong, very easy. Then I say, no, my back ache, no, the suffering, no suffering. That become very easy for me to know. I don't have to try, I don't have to do anything. And with that, I order my mind to know clearly. Mission complete. Mission complete these three things. With that, purity comes in. Send a signal to my brain that, hey, something wrong with my back. There's pollution in my back right now. Your purity and your body will send in all the energy, resources, oxygen, blood to heal it. It took me not long. In the beginning, maybe 10, 30 minutes. And then, oh, go away right away, automatically goes away. But over time, the pain reduce until today, no more back pain. So same with your posture too. In that case, no matter how I move, I cannot get rid of my back pain. So my option is only one left, to just know it. So therefore, before you choose to know the plane, assess first, can you do it or not? Can you get rid of it by moving or not? If so, then just move. So for today's homework, I want you to reflect back on yourself. What have you learned? What have you learned and what techniques do you use? And after listening to my story, what do you learn too? Can you apply what I have been through to your own life? Or can you do better? How can you take my story, take my techniques and make it yours? How does my story applies to you? And I want to know too, is there something in your story that can help me, can help our friends, our family learn from it? Everyone in the group, everyone who's going through this A-class together with you, what can they learn from you? In all my learnings, I find that nothing goes beyond the fundamental. All my mistake comes from the fact that I didn't understand the fundamental. I didn't understand or give faith, give importance to the right thing to do, the right roles, right responsibility. That's why mistakes come about. And my learnings help me recognize that, help me understand that, oh, it is very simple. It is truly very simple. And those techniques that I just shared with you help me come back to the principle, to the fundamental. So that's the essence of my learnings from the past years that I've been practicing. So therefore, I also want to hear from you too. Now, what did you learn? What can you share with me? And how can you improve upon it? with what you know, with the thing that you learn in the 8-week course. How can you make order your mind to know clearly easier? What will help you remind yourself of your roles to responsibility, of the tools around you, of the 8 fears that you learn, of everything. You have to list it out one by one by one. Make it clear, distinguish, as if you open up a toolbox and you lay out all the tools in front of you one by one by one. I think if you have a messy toolbox, unorganized, nails, hammer, wrenches everywhere, when you want to use something in your toolbox, you have to scrounge and find what's the right tool, and you have chaos in your mind. But if you were to dump all the toolbox out, dump it out, and you arrange them one by one by one. There's a hammer, that's a wrench, that's a screw, that's a nail, and you arrange it and know clearly of each tool, each property. Hammer is to hammer stuff into the wall or the thing. This is a hammer. Screw is to screw things in. Nail is to be hammered in. With that, your mind is very clear. So when you want to make a new project, a new building, want to build a house, you know what tool to use, when to use them, and how to use them. Right? So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next class.